NFL schemes.
We just went live, by the way, just so you know.
Let's go.
White Sox team can have a really decent season in a really bad division. That's what you guys have to remember. It's a really bad division.
It is.
That's
what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
You have your scab-eating OC holding you back, calling two of the same screenplays in a row during one game, and having you throw two passes, which I was corrected by, one pass in the fourth quarter of a game you were the best player in. Fight me!
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. Bullshit.
a good organization would do, but this is the Bears, not a good organization. So they're going to keep Ryan Poles.
Why?
We just feel our disappointment. That's all.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
Difference
that.
between the Bears and the Bears.
Yeah, we do it. We do it when it's still warm outside.
Right, yeah.
We can get out like October, beginning November. Still like 50, 60 degrees. Nowadays, it's still like 70 degrees.
And that way, during the winter, we're still so angry that everything's warm. What is going on, Windy City Sports Talk fans? It is Super Bowl Sunday. I started the show without Ryan Fitz knowing, so he was rambling about how Dalen Carter or somebody else would have been a freaking
one of the best nose tackles in the league, but we don't need him because our locker room isn't ready.
So was Justin Fields.
We're a very important player. Our locker room is not ready for anybody.
Justin Fields was 4.
We don't have the culture. I love the culture they built.
I love the culture that they're building.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. They've had draft picks before. They've had cap space before. We'll talk about the Bears.
What do you know about
they've done nothing for
cap space? You just want left tackles.
Space.
You want 10 left tackles.
7-10 to 5-12.
Super Bowl Sunday, and we're already yelling at one another. We got Chiefs Eagles this afternoon in Super Bowl 59. We've also going to talk about some betting odds. I found some very interesting betting odds that may or may determine who's going to win today. Ooh. And we're going to do a little segment to start off the show that we like to call... that is not the music for it. Would you stop pressing the button?
All right. We got there. It took us a while.
The production team handles shit.
It's a giant drive. It's a conspiracy theory, and yes, it's an island in the middle of unapologetic, and yes, sometimes inaccurate sports talk. You were inaccurate when you said the Bears shouldn't have taken Jalen Carter. I'm sorry, it's inaccurate. The Bears should have taken him. But anyway, good morning and welcome to yet another made-up American holiday. Yes, Super Bowl Sunday. And as you sit around warming your heart and hearth, I want you to consider the $100 billion marketing apparatus that is manufacturing today. Those commercials pitching yet another ultra-processed morsel that will give you type 2 diabetes or the bad sugar and get Uncle Johnny's left foot cut off someday. Sorry, Brother John. Yes! I want you to sit back, relax, and consider for just a moment what the hell we are all doing here. Sure, I know it's a little scary. Scares the shit out of me. Like taking a look at Combs' browser history. Yikes.
Don't do that.
Yeah. But of course, I mean the product on the field. Because yes, I have argued for the last few years that the NFL is, drum roll, slowly turning into basketball with traveling. Let's take the AFC Championship game that everyone was rushing to call an instant classic. Faster than Amazon can deliver that exercise equipment you saw on a commercial during the Super Bowl that you're never going to use anyway. Damn, that's fast. Yes, the AFC Championship game had the most views of any AFC Championship game in history. But what did we watch? I stopped counting screen passes after 20, including 8 in the final 5 minutes. There were 18 designed QB sneaks, and let's face it, with both QBs getting 3.9 yards a carry, most of those were tush pushes. There were 67 rushing plays in all, and with only 131 plays, I have to, has me asking, in this 2025, is this 2025, damn it? Or is this 1969 when my man Joe Willie Namath upset the Baltimore Colts? And don't ask ChatGPT or any AI algorithm for these stats because I tried and they do not have them. FYI, if AI can't tell me how many tush pushes or screen passes there are in a game, I'm not sure it's going to take over the world anytime soon. Even the most biased observer has to admit this game did not have the same vibe and look as the divisional round game between the Chiefs and the Bills on January 23rd, 2022, when Mahomes won the game with just 13 seconds left. No, this is the new NFL, the high efficiency NFL. Don't take any real chances, NFL. And let's face it, these teams are taking the league along with them. The NFL might just be basketball with traveling and rugby. You might ask, Fitz, why all the doom and gloom? Let me watch yards per play drop while my glucose levels rise. Well, it's not all doom and gloom, and maybe I have a way to inject real fun into the game today, even if it is manufactured. In 1985, the Chicago Bears created the iconic song, the Super Bowl Shuffle, and brought swagger to a sport that was just reeling off a strike just a few years before. But there was another song that not many have heard of that was produced that same year by another team. I want to play it here today in honor of the Philadelphia Eagles, the team my boy Aiden is rooting for today, who invented the tush push. Sit back, relax.
Oh, God.
And ram it.
We're gonna ram it, just ram it. Everybody ram it. We'll be rocking LA. So let's ram it today. Let's ram it.
This is Big Bad Jackie and I'm starting this off. The Rams get down so nobody scoff. And don't you worry cause the Rams are rapping. When game time comes, we'll be back to jiving. We can't sing and our dance is not pretty, but we'll do our best for the team and the city. So get on your feet and clap your hands. Let's ram it right now with the LA Rams.
Hollywood handsome, Dodge City tough. If you throw it my way, it's gonna get rough. I like to ram it, as you can see. Nobody likes ramming any more than me.
They call me Jeter, nobody dresses sweeter. But under this cool is a quarterback mistreater. I come from the air, looking for the sack. I don't stop coming till I put them on the back. This is limousine with it, my moves are like dreams. They call me the demon on special teams. I know how to rock from the toes to the head. When I pull the trigger, I'll knock you dead.
I'm a mountain man from West VA. They call me Herc and I came to play. I learned long ago if you ram it just right, you can ram it all day and ram it all night.
And that is your sexually frustrated Fitz gibberish. Combs.
What?
I learned long ago if you ram it just right, you can ram it all day and ram it all night. Ram it.
What did we just watch? What the hell was that?
That was the song that wasn't played because the Rams lost to the Bears. Didn't even score a point in the NFC Championship game that year. 2025 started with what the fuck?
Yeah.
Your thoughts? It needs to get played.
Wow. Well,
so your thoughts of the state of football since we're talking the Super Bowl?
you know what I think about the state of football. I think at some point you're either going to see them peel back on some of these rules and some of these penalties, or you're going to see the Pro Bowl every Sunday,
Yeah,
and it's going to
he
be
sent
flag
me that.
football.
Yeah, I just don't see where this goes. I mean, I don't think the tush push lasts much longer. I mean, there was so much tush pushing in that AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it wasn't fun to watch. It was. I mean, probably the most exciting play was Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball up in the air. I mean, was an interception, wasn't it? I mean, the play that everybody's arguing about was a bunch of fat guys running into each other like a rugby game. I said it a few times, but Buck didn't get back to me on Man Hour. But I mean, I don't think, I mean, in a sporting era where they've already changed baseball, they've already changed a bunch of rules in baseball to make it more pleasing. The 3-point line in basketball is not going to last, people. It isn't.
right.
It's going to change soon. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And in football, I mean, you cannot say we're watching the same football game we were watching 5 years ago. We were watching 10 years ago. We're definitely not watching the same one we were watching 20 years ago. It's not the same sport. To me, it's not as exciting. And
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're, I don't know if you saw the
just like the Los Angeles Rams, video.
yeah, and I don't know if you saw when Tom Brady was talking about, like, he was reviewing the play where he got just like demolished by the Buffalo Bills, where he went and he slid and they just came in and his helmet went flying, and Tom Brady was like, "Well, I slid late." He's like, I'm trying to get a first down. He's trying to stop me from getting a first down. So it was a good play, but I popped right back up. He's like, look how fast I get back up. And that's just, I mean, look, people say, look, I'm not a believer that the Chiefs get all the calls and blah, 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 blah. But I do believe that Chiefs get the right calls in the right situations. And I do believe that the Chiefs are good at taking advantage of that. Just like we've seen happen in the NBA, which I believe has ruined the NBA as well, is the flopping, right? Like you'll see a play where a guy is going to cross a guy over, and all of a sudden the guy just explodes and looks like he got hit by a bomb because he's trying to draw the foul. And 8 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10, a whistle blows. And you get the call. And you look at the replay and you're like, oh, Jesus, like, what are we doing here? So, the one
and that's starting to happen in the NFL now. That's starting to happen in the NFL.
But
not
one
just
thing the NBA has done to counter that, the NBA has made it so that every play is reviewable. And if they go back and they determine that you flopped, you're the one that actually gets the penalty. You know what I mean? But here's the thing with, like, the NFL. You see it all the time, and you see it with Patrick Mahomes. You've seen it with Caleb Williams. You see it with a lot of quarterbacks now, where they're running to the sideline, and they see a guy is coming and he's letting up, so they take a couple extra yards to try to get closer to the first down, or just try to grab a couple extra yards after the first down, and they don't get touched. But then if they do get touched, they get a flag. So they know that, so they're using that to their ability, and nobody does that better than Patrick Mahomes does. And teams know it. I mean, we saw Dan Campbell talk about it, and Dan Campbell used it against the Bears and talked to the refs about it. Hey, this is what Caleb has been doing. Just to let you know, if he tries this, we're going to blow him up. And the refs were looking for it, and then the refs didn't throw the flag. Now, again, if that's Patrick Mahomes or if that's Josh Allen, they probably get a flag on that play. But that quarterbacks are taking advantage of this. You've got the NFL, if they really want to stop it and they really want the product to continue to be as good as it used to be, then they've got to put something to it. They've got to stop it. They've got to I just popped up.
Did you see it?
No, no, I saw it. I don't know what the hell just happened there.
Detective Thomas, Mr. Combs. We have been attempting to contact you for days regarding our Virginia McCaskey death investigation.
We will be getting.
Will you submit to providing a DNA sample?
Yes, I will.
Will you? Where were you on that
I was
day?
in bed. I was in bed with COVID. So
So you
yeah.
were by yourself. So you have no alibi. You have no alibi.
well,
Wow.
the only way out would have been through through the door where my wife was sleeping, in the living room because she didn't want to be near me.
He's the only one that says just Detective Thomas. There's no last name.
I know.
Doesn't seem official to me.
doesn't seem, doesn't seem official at all. He is a master at changing his moniker. But getting back to
Yeah.
the NFL, like you've got to change the rules. You've got to be able to make things replayable. And if you start making stuff like that replayable, and you see that it's a dive, or you see that, and I'm not talking about the play where he ducks out of the way and the Buffalo players collide
I
and hit
am talking
themselves
about
and they
that
get
play,
a
but
penalty. But I mean, yeah, should that have been a penalty? No. But that also, if you look at it in replay, I'm not giving Mahomes a penalty for flopping because he's just getting out of the way of
no.
getting sandwiched. So, but I'm talking about if you see that, he's a step out of bounds and a guy touches him with a fingernail and he goes flying like he just just got launched by a trampoline or something. You,
Or had a stroke.
you give him the 15-yard penalty. That will stop that stuff. That will stop that stuff from happening. What can you blame? Do you blame Patrick Mahomes for taking advantage of it? Do you blame the Kansas City Chiefs for taking advantage of it? If they know they can get away with it and the NFL is allowing them to get away with it, why not do it? My complaint is more towards my team. Why does my team do that? Why does my team try to take advantage of this type of stuff? And maybe they do and they just don't get away with it as much and we just notice it more because they're the Chiefs and they're winning and success breeds hate. But it's one of those where you're just like, well, it does. I mean, when teams are
I just
successful,
don't
you get
think
like, are you sick or tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl every year?
I'm sick and tired of
Yeah.
it. I mean, this is the Eagles' second Super Bowl in the last few years
It
too.
is.
The thing you're not gonna have a lot of Chicago Bears cultures who are gonna be that interested in the details of the game and the nuances of the game to do something like take advantage of the current trends of refs or the current trends of really anything that's happening in football. So I wouldn't ask for that yet. Maybe with this new regime, possibly. Seems like they got some good coaching on staff, but I agree with you. You have to start penalizing the stuff. You have to start going back when you have Troy Aikman on a broadcast saying, "Oh, come on." And it was those two calls against the Texans that could have changed the game. Yeah, did the Texans have a lot of issues in that game? They did. They're still a young team. They made a lot of young mistakes. CJ Stroud, maybe not a full step back, but he took a half step back, even though he had a pretty good game in that game. That's not a well-oiled machine there with the Texans. They don't have the details right the way the Chiefs do. I mean, you have to hand it to the Chiefs. That's why they're winning all these close games. That's how championship teams win all the close games. They have attention to detail. That's what happened with the Patriots all those years. And you can look at a lot of Super Bowl teams, especially in this era. Maybe not in the era we grew up in, where Super Bowl, usually one team was way better than the other. With so much parity nowadays, you have to take advantage of everything. And I have nothing against them taking advantage of everything. I have something wrong with the referees getting worse and worse and worse to where they're almost equal to those refs that they had 10 years ago that were just filling in because there was a referee strike. I mean, the refereeing is getting worse and worse, and I'm not the only one that says it. And I don't give a shit what Kurt Warner says. They got the first down. The Bills got the first down. End of story. I don't care where we have to question it. Like Kurt Warner was out there, and I wish I had the clip. I probably should have got it, but whatever. He's out there going, wow. There's still an argument. There's no argument. He got the first down.
Like, got the first down.
End of story. Like, and there should have been some review. There should have been some way to say that. They even review some of these calls and they don't get them right.
Well, they did review that, didn't they?
Exactly. They did review it and they still didn't get it right. And it was obvious that he got the first down. Like, I mean, and it's not just that play, it's a lot of different plays that change the complexion of the game too, to where it's sometimes the game isn't even close anymore because one call went one way instead of the other that should have gone. Yeah, I definitely think if you can get the reviews to be a little bit quicker, almost like in hockey, it seems like these NFL reviews are still a little slow, to where they could say, no, that wasn't roughing the passer. He pushed him. Like,
Right.
it's ridiculous. And when you're beyond that line of scrimmage and you don't slide in time, you should get your head knocked off. I'm sorry, this is football. My mom in the late 80s didn't want us to play football because she knew it could hurt you.
Yeah.
That's almost 40 years ago. Like, football is supposed to hurt you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep, like, if we do half measures, then we might as well go the whole way and make it flag football, or we make an NFL that, I'm sorry, is going to hurt people, because
But-
that's a better NFL. To me, that's a better NFL. That's a better product on the field. But they
Here's
don't
the
care about
question,
that.
man.
They want to do things halfway. They want to act like, that you can't even tackle someone from behind anymore. They want to do things halfway and act like, oh no, we could still have a sport and it cannot hurt people, and lie to people, lie to the casual fan, and act like, oh no, this is a perfectly safe sport when it's not.
Well,
Like, what are
I
we
mean,
doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're getting, and I'm sorry to say, let's call it what it is. We're putting a lot of poor people into a game that is, I'm sorry, a ferocious game, and we're watching them get hurt for money. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing when we're watching boxing. That's what we're doing when we're watching UFC. Nobody who's from Orland Park is joining the UFC. I'm sorry, they're not. That's why everybody from the South is basically in football,
the
because they don't
champion,
make a whole lot of money.
in the UFC is actually from Orland.
Well, let's look back at
Bilal Muhammad
understand.
is from
I'm
this
not-
area, sir.
I'm not saying. Well, let's look him up. Let's see how his life was from beginning to end. I'm guessing that there was an abusive parent in there, or some kind of like substance abuse, not in his past, but in his family's past. I don't want to guess here until we look him up. But let's look him up. Let's get the production staff on it. I'm just saying that is what we were doing here. We could. It's like. It's the problem with this country that we want to act like things are happening that aren't happening. We want to put a polish on everything, and it doesn't work. It makes the product worse. It does every single time. Let's not lie about what we're doing here.
No, I get what you're
I think
saying.
it's not good for kids. I think it's not good for people. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Here's the thing. Like, I understood.
Bilal went to Bogan. Well, there. Thanks for proving my point, Doubting Thomas.
I
Or McMahon.
yeah, Vince McMahon. Jesus, this guy with his monikers.
Go on. Over to you.
I understood originally what the NFL is trying to do with the CTE, because look, CTE is a real problem, but CTE is a real problem in every sport where you're getting your head banged. CTE is a problem in hockey, CTE is a problem in UFC, CTE is a problem in boxing. Hell, CTE is a problem in professional wrestling. But you're right in the fact that that's what we do. When we watch sports, man, we pay to be entertained. That's why we watch it. It gets us away from our everyday lives. It gets us away from our everyday problems, our everyday struggles. We watch this stuff to get away, and we love it. And real sports fans are passionate sports fans. And I don't know that they'll ever go back to the punter getting blown up in the Pro Bowl by Taylor, where his helmet flies off. I don't know that we'll ever, get Tom Brady getting his helmet blown off by a safety coming to stop him from a first down. But I think you've got to lighten up with the protection, the obvious protection for one position. And it's an obvious protection. Not only, well, an obvious protection for the quarterback position, but for offense in general, right? Like it is impossible to play defense in the NFL these days without being flagged for something. I mean, hell, the hip drop tackle is a tackle. It's it's you grab the guy who's ahead of you and you want him to stop going, so you drop your weight.
Or you
That's a
can,
tackle.
yeah, anything else is you're pushing them forward 5 yards.
So I get the I get the CTE thing, and I get the problem with that. I don't even care if it's mandatory that everybody wears a Guardian cap on their helmet. I'm fine with that. I mean, it looks different and weird, but you'd get used to it after a while. If you, with all of the protection and um all of the safety equipment, the new helmets that are coming out, and all of these things that are making it safer for players, you've got to still be able to play football. I mean, you're 100% right on that. You've got to still be able to play football. You've got to, because eventually what's going to happen is people are going to lose interest.
Yeah.
People are going to lose interest the same way people have lost interest in the NBA. I mean, dude, I had a basketball coach yesterday come up to me before a game. I was wearing a hockey jacket when I went to work yesterday, and I had my New England Wolves jacket on. And the guy comes up to me. He's like, dude, I, spent a lot of time up at Lake Winnipesaukee up there in New Hampshire. He's like, I love hockey. He's like, "And between you and me," he's like, I'm a hockey guy. He's like, I'll watch the NHL any day before the NBA. And this is the head coach of a men's basketball team.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
not
like,
good.
no, and you're looking at some of these sports in the way that they're changing things and altering things. And it's just like the product isn't there. That's why I don't watch the NBA. Like I keep track of the NBA because of what I do for a living, but I don't like I'm not gonna sit down and watch a game. I'm not gonna sit down. I'll watch college basketball because college basketball still means something right now. Until the NIL really takes over, and then it's just who's paying who the most money. But I mean, there's still actual rivalries right now. We were talking about it the other day with a guy who's like, I don't know if Michigan really hates Ohio State. I was like, well, did you see what happened after the game? They still have a rivalry. I said, but eventually the NIL is going to be more like the pros, where these guys, the fans have a rivalry, and these guys are going out to dinner afterwards, spending your money. That's just what it is. But when we go out to watch the NFL or UFC, I mean, hell, I was watching the UFC last night. You're watching these things, and you're watching people hurt one another. You're watching guys get knocked out for
Yeah.
fun, and you cheer. You're watching guys get choked out, and you cheer. Women get choked out, and you cheer.
Well, when the UFC first started, there was a lot of places that wouldn't even play it. That wouldn't even play the UFC.
Well, when they first
It-
started, they were they were
Yeah.
Thunderdome when they
It was
first started.
it was a different product, but
Yeah.
not crazily different. I mean, how many moves are illegal? You can't knee a guy from a standing position while he's
Right.
down. They're not coming up with restrictions for UFC like, oh, you can't do a flying kick anymore.
Well, when
Or
UFC
you
first
can't-
started, these guys were fighting 4 or 5 fights in a
Yeah,
night, and
I
now they're fighting 4 or 5
I
fights in
get
about
that,
10
but
years.
even when they did change the rules, they were still pulling the UFC. A lot of people didn't want to take them out until then. Yeah, then it blew up, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, the actual fight itself is not totally different. Guys are still in there. There's no rules
But
changing.
here's why and that's a perfect example, because here's why the UFC was able to blow up, was because boxing was dying. Boxing killed itself. Boxing was no longer relevant because nobody believed that it wasn't fixed. Nobody believed that it wasn't watered down. Nobody believed that there wasn't a better product. Just like, there when the NFL, if the NFL doesn't pull their head out of their ass with this, eventually something else is going to take over. Soccer might get more popular in America. You know what I mean? Like our hockey might become the more popular. There will be a shift. There's always a shift. There's always a shift. I mean, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, it was baseball, right? Baseball was everybody's sport. The national pastime. America loves baseball. and then football started to take over, right? And in the last 30 years, it's been football has been the phenomenon. In the 90s and 80s, you could even say basketball was there. There's a
Yeah,
huge basketball, even in the early 2000s. I
especially
mean, early 2000s
internationally.
basketball was great. Basketball really started to take a turn around the time I would say probably around the time like that LeBron started going to the Heat. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah, it
when
was still
basketball really
pretty
started to
it
shift
was
because you
still
started.
going up. I
Yeah,
mean, media-wise, I mean, numbers-wise. I'm
yeah,
not saying what the product actually looked
but
like.
it started to shift because they started to change the rules. You started to like the LeBron effect started taking place. Like
No
you started
hands
seeing more
checking.
flopping, no hand. Yeah,
Yeah,
the more offensive
they should
rules.
bring
Hey, let's
hand
let's get
checking
more
back.
scoring in. Then all of a sudden analytics took over, and if you take 63s and you hit 45% of your threes or 40% of your threes, that's better than hitting 60% of your twos. You know what I mean? So now all of a sudden it's a 3-point contest and you're not allowed to play defense. So now there's not it's just not a fun product anymore. So now basketball is probably less popular than hockey, I would say. And baseball is starting it has taken a backseat to the NFL. I mean, the numbers wouldn't show that, but the NFL has kind of pulled forward ahead of baseball now over the last 30 years, but it's going to start shifting back, like because football just they got I mean, they got scared by the lawsuit. They lost a lot of money in that lawsuit.
Yeah.
But instead of changing the rules for one side. I mean, because when a defender is moving at 100 miles an hour trying to tackle a guy, and then the guy decides to slide, and my helmet collides with his helmet because I'm going 100 miles an hour. Like, here's what I want to take with the NFL rules. The guys who made up these rules that it doesn't matter if the guy dips his head and there's contact. It's still contact, so it's got to be a penalty. I want to take that guy and I want to tell him, you're going to run full speed into the wall, but I want you to stop when I tell you to stop without hitting the wall.
Yeah, it's impossible.
He's going to die because he's going to run head first into a brick wall because
And
no matter when
social
I tell him to stop, he's not going to be able to stop.
and social media isn't doing it any favors either when you got, people putting on social media like, "Oh my god, that's a terrible. He should have been thrown out of the game." It's like, no,
Look, are
that's
there dirty hits? Sure. Yes. Are
yeah.
there guys who are dirty players? Absolutely. Can you tell when a guy is playing dirty? 9 times out of 10, yeah, you can. Look, I'm not going to tell you can sit there and determine intent because you can't determine somebody's intent. You don't know if but you can tell when somebody is just not playing the game the right way. There are certain and Dominican Sue was a dirty player.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you can look at those things and you can punish those things, and I'm fine with that. But to punish the game, to punish the fans the way that the game was played, it's crazy. And that's why fans complain about it. That's why fans look for reasons why their team is losing, other than the fact that their team's just not as good as the other one.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you go on social media and tell the person like I mean, maybe a penalty, but that's not a dirty hit, and the guy shouldn't be kicked out of the game. They're like, "Oh, if it was your player." It's like, what? If it was my player? Like, I don't
Yeah.
what are you talking about? I don't have a player. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. Like, I look at the play. If it looks dirty, I'll tell you if it's dirty. But if a guy, like you said, if a guy's running and he can't stop and change the trajectory of his body like he's freaking
Yeah.
Iron Man. What are we talking about here?
I
Yeah,
had
okay, maybe it's a penalty and you're trying to clean up the league a little bit. So guys,
yeah.
and then guys go slower, and then you have like that play, like, and I know I keep bringing it up when Patrick Mahomes is about to go out of bounds, and the Chiefs end up winning this game, and the linebacker has no idea what to do. So the linebacker just stands there, and Patrick Mahomes runs past them.
Yeah.
Because everybody has to play slower, and the product, the product is less than it was. I just don't think a lot of
And
people
that's the other thing with fans too, is that they'll look at things and they can't look at things objectively. Like there's a very small percentage of us, like you and me, who can look at the game objectively. Hell, I was in the studio watching a Bears Thursday night game before one of my shows, and the a play happened. I forget what it was, and it was against the Bears, and it was a good call. And I said, "Oh, that's a good call." And the other guy who was in the studio looked at me, and he's actually a Ravens fan. He's like, wow, a Bears fan saying that was a good call against his team. I said, well, yeah, I mean, it was a good call. Like, I mean, a good call is a good call, but there's not a lot of fans that can look at that. There's not a lot of fans like if Chiefs fans lose, if the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl today, you're going to hear Chiefs fans whining about something because the vast majority of fans can't accept the fact that their team just lost.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So you've got to be able to look at things objectively. The same reason why Chiefs fans don't believe that they get the benefit of calls, and they'll never admit that they get the benefit of calls in the right times. But I've seen it time and time again where it's not about them getting all the calls. They don't get all the calls. The officiating is poor throughout the league. But when you get a call on 3rd and 24 that gives you an automatic first down that extends a drive when you're down by 6 in the fourth quarter, that shouldn't have been called.
Yeah.
That's when people are like, those are the calls that the Chiefs get. Now, do they manufacture some of those calls themselves? Sure. Are some of those calls in the ref's head, hey, it's the Chiefs, so we make these calls for the Chiefs at Arrowhead and in this, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I know as a ref, I've refed hockey, I've refed football. I know that when you are looking at something, you're going to see it differently than the idiots in the stands see it because you've got a different line of sight. You've got a different view. You're looking for different things on a certain play. But sometimes you see things one way and you don't call them, but also sometimes, I mean, there could be other factors in the game. Hey, what's the score? Hey, what do I have dinner plans? Hey, what, you know what I mean? Like sometimes there are human factors to that. I just don't, fans don't understand that. No, a vast majority of fans don't understand that anyway.
Yeah. And you have the Chiefs losing? Do you
Yeah,
want to
let's talk.
roll on into the bets?
Let's talk Super Bowl. Let's talk bets, and here's why. All right, so that I've always, and I've talked about this on the show, and I've looked into this for a very long time, right? Like there are certain things that Vegas knows, right? And I'm not. A part of me does believe Vegas has not a control in the outcome of a game, but maybe they have some refs that hey, just so you know, this guy's over. If he can get if he's got a 45-yard pass downfield and you can call it an interference instead of allowing it to be a catch, call the interference. So I look I look into things. So on DraftKings the other day, I go to look at the Gatorade. I'm making prop bets and I'm looking at the Gatorade celebration. I'm like, all right, well, I think the Eagles might win this game and win in the NFC Championship game, as Ryan Horvath pointed out on BetMGM tonight. The Eagles doused Sirianni with Gatorade, which usually doesn't happen in the championship game. That's waited for the Super Bowl, and it was yellow Gatorade. So I was like, all right, let me go see what yellow Gatorade is. And yellow / green Gatorade was a minus 200. And I was like, okay. I said, but the Chiefs have used purple the last 2 years. I said, so let me see what purple is.
Ooh.
Purple was plus 350. I'm like, well, that doesn't really make sense because if the Chiefs are the favorite and purple, why is yellow Gatorade? So I was like, all right, let me take a look at Gatorade over the last 20 years and what the different colors were, right? Because I'm an idiot and all I want to do is do research. So only 3 times in the last 20 years has yellow Gatorade been used. So why would it be minus 200? Well, do you know when the last time yellow Gatorade was used, Ryan Fitzgibbons?
The MJ commercial, I want to be like Mike.
No. 2018 was the last time yellow Gatorade was doused on a coach in
Wow.
a Super Bowl. Do you know who won the Super Bowl in 2018?
The Patriots won against
Philadelphia Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. The Patriots won the next one against the Rams.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
19. Yeah. Okay.
The Philadelphia Eagles were the last team to use yellow Gatorade. Yellow Gatorade is the favorite by a lot. I mean, purple Gatorade is plus 300, and the Chiefs have come out talking about how superstitious they are. Chiefs players have talked about it. Coaching staff has talked about it. They're not going to change the color of their Gatorade. If they win, it's going to be purple again. but Vegas knows things. So then I started feeling better about a lot of my bets that I was placing, because a lot of my bets I'm placing are heavy Eagles
What bets you
rushing
got? Are we gonna
props.
look at them?
Yeah, we can
We take a
certainly.
look. I got one bet while you pull up your bets that I want to talk about. Who is going to cry at the national anthem, or who is going to be shown crying?
Oh, Sirianni definitely cry. You have to. If you cry once, don't you have to cry every time?
Yes, I know. That's the pressure. Now everybody's going to think he's going to cry. He's plus 250 to cry.
Wasn't he the one tear though? Wasn't he like the guy who was only crying out of one eye?
Oh my God.
There was somebody who had tear. He had like one teardrop coming out of one eye.
Johnny Depp?
No, I thought it was Sirianni, but I could be wrong.
Jeremiah says Mahomes. Hi, Jeremiah. Mahomes.
What's going on, Jeremiah? Welcome out of the bathtub.
Yeah, the refs, and gets certain calls because he's built a relationship with them. It's similar to MJ. Yeah, but is that right? Whatever. I mean,
all right. So what's your bet that you want to share?
That was the bet I wanted to share. Who's going to cry? They have Chris Jones as minus 400. I have no idea why.
Oh yeah.
Who will be seen first during the national anthem? Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts?
Ooh.
Or Travis Kelce? Or Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
She's not a player playing today.
But
she'll
be
the first. A lot of Taylor Swift. Do you think we get a lot of Taylor Swift today? I think it's run its course.
Here's who's singing the anthem, because that's who's going to get shown first during the anthem. See, you got to play smart.
Ooh.
See if they're available, what their odds are.
Oh, John Baptiste.
All right. So does it have to be a player? Is John Baptiste available?
I don't see him in that.
So my favorite
saying players or coaches.
My favorite prop bet was the heads or tails. I bet heads.
Let's get to it.
Heads.
You bet heads.
Was minus 102.
Why heads?
Because you got a 50-50 chance, and I know people always say tails never fail, so I went against the grain. I was just like,
you want to ram it.
I figure most people are going to.
You want to ram it.
I figure guys call me Dick instead of Dick the son. I lead the Rangers. I'm the Rams top gun. They say I'm as smooth as a runner can be. Even sweetness and the others are talking about me. I like.
All right. Enough of that. We're done ramming it. So yeah, that was my reason for that. Over on the time of the anthem, says Jeremiah Murray. I like that. I like that. It's almost always over. Especially at the Super Bowl. I do have a bet for Eagles money line plus Saquon Barkley to record 125 plus rushing yards. That's plus 190. I do like that bet just because of the odds. I mean, it's good. Put some pizza money on it.
Yeah, there you go. The over-under for the national anthem, 120.5 seconds, so a little bit over 2 minutes.
Okay.
It seems like long. No, that doesn't seem long.
I do like I did bet one player from each team to be the first touchdown scorer. So I took Travis Kelce from the Chiefs to be the first touchdown scorer at plus 1,000, and Saquon Barkley for the Eagles at plus 400. I also have I have an anytime touchdown parlay. It's 50-1 odds for 4 players to score a touchdown today. Saquon Barkley anytime, Travis Kelce anytime, Jalen Hurts anytime, and DeAndre Hopkins anytime touchdown.
DeAndre Hopkins. What is 50-1?
Yeah, I really like that with those odds.
Yeah. Is that real?
Yeah, it's real. It is real. That's my big parlay. I mean, there's a couple other out there. You know, do you like? Let's go over some of the actual props. Tell me whether or not you like them. Whether or not you would go over or under. Let's do that. If you let's talk about quarterback props. So passing yards. Patrick Mahomes over or under 256.5.
Passing yards.
Yeah.
Over or under 256.5. I don't think he had 256 in the AFC Championship game. This is a better defense.
I don't know if he's at 256 all year.
Yeah.
They have
I'm
not
going
been a good
under.
offense. Yeah, I would go under
I
too.
think he's going to have another, 10 to 15 runs in this game.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be enough times for him to pass the ball. I mean, unless something crazy happens, like a guy gets the ball intercepted from him and somehow it's a catch.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a high scoring game, though. I think he's going to get close. I don't know if he can get over 256, though. I do think that there's going to be a lot of running opportunities for both teams to set them up in positions. I think he might throw for a few passing touchdowns, but I don't think that they're going to throw that much. Or for that many yards, I should say. So I'm under on both passing yards. Jalen Hurts is at 210.
210?
Yeah.
It's low, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, even for him, that's just passing yards, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm still under there. I think he's going to run the ball 10 to 15 times.
I
think,
agree.
like I said in Fitz gibberish. I mean, this isn't a throw the ball down the league all the time
Yeah.
anymore. It isn't.
Here's my single favorite bet that I do have is Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and that's at plus money right now for him just to throw 2 touchdowns. That's plus 155. I mean, I think Saquon's going to have a great day. I think Saquon, that's another good bet that I threw out on BetMGM tonight.
Plus money
to score in any time. Yeah, everybody except for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are plus money. Who are we looking? Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is plus 140.
Plus 140.
Yeah. Now this is on BetMGM. I'm using BetMGM's app.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's going to be different all over the place.
Yeah,
but
you can find different numbers and different books.
I think do you think Saquon Barkley? I mean, if they don't give him the ball 20 times or over, that's a complete catastrophe, right?
Yeah.
In this game. I mean, you think he's going to have a big game? Some people are saying he's not going to have a big game because of the Chiefs' defensive line. I mean, Chris Jones has been a monster.
Yeah.
We already talked about, but the Philadelphia Eagles have a pretty good defensive line headed by a guy named Jalen Carter, who was no good for the Bears. No good for the Bears. No good for the Bears. We don't want him. We don't want a monster as a defensive tackle. No.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Are you Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts? Both of them are plus money to throw an interception. Just one interception. You think no interceptions today? Plus 105 for Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception, plus 115 for Jalen Hurts. It's actually better odds for Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception than Jalen Hurts.
I think it's just a game of both teams waiting for another team to make a mistake and not wanting to. I mean, it's super efficiency these days. I would say no interceptions today.
See, I
don't think they're going to throw the ball, and I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to throw it enough. I mean, it could happen. Obviously, anytime you throw the ball, it could get tipped up into the air, whatever can happen. But I just don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a lot of running, a lot of tush pushing.
Here's a crazy number. So Saquon's ridiculous.
Saquon receiving yards is Jeremiah's play. I think that's probably smart. I think there's going to be a lot of screen passes in this game, Jeremiah.
Well, Saquon's rushing yards is crazy. What do you think his over-under is set at?
Is it over 100?
Yeah.
Jesus, for a Super Bowl too.
You haven't had a 100-yard rusher in the Super Bowl since James White, I think, in 2019.
Sheesh.
111.5.
Whoa.
I would bet the over. I really would. It's minus money to the over.
Yeah, he might break one today. It's hard to see that he doesn't.
He might break two.
Cuts are unbelievable. I remember when he was in the combine and they were saying how quickly he got up to speed he just blew everybody out of the water.
Yeah.
And how his jump cuts were just more. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I'd like to go back to them because they were like they just no one was even close.
Well, if you're gonna get
And
crazy with Saquon's 111, you might as well get crazy to bet him to break the Super Bowl record for most rushing yards, which would be 205 or more. Because you're getting better plus 1100 for him to do that, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's. And then how about here's the thing, because they like to use the Chiefs like to use Xavier Worthy in running plays for any wide receiver to record 54 or more rushing yards to break a Super Bowl record. It's plus 2000. I could see Xavier Worthy getting a couple end arounds and maybe break in one. I mean, all he's got to do is break one.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, God, the Bills. I mean, and what did I say a couple of weeks ago? Like, what if Xavier Worthy has a good game in that
I know.
Bills game? And he's the decider in the game, and the Bills traded to the Chiefs. Why would you ever trade to the Chiefs in the offseason? And the Chiefs got Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
It's
thinner.
crazy.
I don't ever think he's going to be a top line. I don't think anybody thinks he's going to be a top line wide receiver. I just don't think he has the frame for it, but he's definitely maxed out as a rookie. I mean, possible. It's not a bad bet, I don't think.
First scoring play. Touchdown is minus 165, field goal is plus 140, and any other score is plus 5,000. So any other score would probably be a pick six or a safety are the only other two ways to score, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
But wouldn't a pick six be a touchdown? I don't know. I guess it depends on how you would argue that. Field goal. I'm trying to think. Touchdown, field goal, or safety. Only way to score points.
Yeah, I don't fumble.
So a safety plus 5,000. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, unless you're talking about it does a fumble recovery in the end zone not count as a touchdown? Like, so I don't know why they wouldn't just say safety. But touchdown minus 165, field goal plus 140, other score plus 5,000. I think field goal might be the play there. Field goal might be the play because I could see a bend but don't break defense on either side of the ball. You know what I mean? Where they get downfield, they get stopped at like the 10-yard line or whatever, drive stalls out. I think that might be the play.
Doubting Thomas is going with the Eagles -9 at plus 340, and the Eagles first half -6.5 at plus 240. He likes to do both.
You think the Eagles are going to win that big, huh? Are you really going that? See, I don't know whether or not to trust you. I don't know if you're really betting that.
He likes to bet by halves. I know that.
I do like the Eagles.
Are you going to make any bets during the game? Let's say after the first half, you see how these teams play. Are you going to make a second half bet?
I will probably live bet. I will live bet. Normally, I'll live bet the over under. I will see how a game goes. I did already bet the total over, which is 48.5, and then I did bet both team overs. The Chiefs are 26.5, the Chiefs are 24.5, and the Eagles are 26.5. Or no, vice versa. Yeah, vice versa. So I did bet both team overs because I do think this is going to be a high scoring football game.
You do?
I do. I really do. I think a lot of people are expecting a defensive battle. I know we've talked about both teams' defenses and how good that they are. I think it might be a low scoring first half, and then both teams just freaking erupt in the second half, and you just see back and forth. Because what's going to happen is that I think the Eagles will be ahead at halftime, and then they might get the ball first, and then they go up a little bit more, and now all of a sudden Mahomes is just opening things up like Mahomes does. And you just see back and forth. You could see a thing where the Eagles go up by 10, the Chiefs come back with two quick touchdowns, and now they hand the ball to Saquon Barkley and he scores on the first play run or something like that. So you might see 14 points in a matter of 3 minutes or 21 points in a matter of 3 minutes. I do think it's going to be a high scoring football game. I really do.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a bit of a taffy pull. I think both play. I think like I said, I think it's going to be a staring contest.
You're
for a
also wearing a
while.
Jets jersey on Super Bowl Sunday, so that makes sense.
It's Joe Namath. He invented the Super Bowl. Come on.
It's a Jets jersey on Super Bowl Sunday.
Guaranteeing victory.
Have they been back to a Super Bowl since then?
No, they have not. But we both had them having a good team this year.
That was Super Bowl 3. What Super Bowl is this?
95?
59?
50.
Dyslexic a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see. I just think we're gonna see a staring contest where neither team wants to make the big mistake.
Yeah,
I could totally be wrong. I mean, if the Chiefs come out to a big lead and the Eagles have to get rid of the run, yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna have a high scoring game in that equation. But I don't see the Eagles totally abandoning the run. I wouldn't. I mean, every time that guy touches the ball, it could be a 60, 70-yard run. But yeah, I just see a lower scoring game in this game.
So I want to get your thoughts on Super Bowl parties. But before we do, I want to hear from somebody else talking about Super Bowl parties. Here's Mr. Bill Burr.
Plan? You gonna have a Super Bowl party?
Yes, no Super Bowl party.
The heck?
No Super Bowl party. If you're a true football fan,
Can you hear
do
this?
not go to Super Bowl parties because it's all a bunch of losers who don't watch it all year. And what they do is they talk during the game and then they shut up during the commercial. And then the game comes back like, oh, how much did that one cost? Huh? That's funny. I thought that one stunk. And it's just like, the rage that goes through me through the game. And I just, end up fighting, with somebody. So what I do is I tape the game. I let it go like 90 minutes. 90 minutes. I shut off everything and then I start watching. That way I can fast forward through all of the crap, all of the fireworks, the bands.
You don't like the halftime show?
No. No. And I love Bruno Mars, but I'll go to his concert. I don't need to. And they keep talking about the weather, like that's going to be the problem. Like it's going to be for the bands. They're going to have the hardest time.
Not the players.
Yeah, the players will be fine. It's the bands. They have to sing in that weather. Flea never wears a shirt, right?
So that's Bill Burr talking about Super Bowl parties. How do you feel about Super Bowl parties?
Look, when I'm watching a sporting event, any sporting event, if I'm invested in it, I'm not really that invested into this game. Whatever. But if I'm invested in it and I'm interested in it, yeah, I want to be watching the game. I don't want to be talking about all this ancillary side stuff. I don't want to be talking about the commercials. I don't want to eat your dip. I don't want to have your specialty drink. I want to be locked into the game. Like if the Bears were playing in this game, or if it was a more interesting game for me, let's say Detroit maybe is playing, which Detroit was a team I was rooting for this year. I just don't see there's not a lot of sizzle. I know what I'm getting with the Eagles and the Chiefs. I just know I just have a feeling about what this game's going to be. So I'm not going to be as interested, but when I'm locked into a game, I want to be locked into a game. I don't want to be talking to you about other stuff. I'm watching the game, and while you're talking to me, you are making me angry.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't like especially like if you're having a party that is just with a bunch of people, like Bill Burr was talking about, with people that don't watch the game generally, right? Like if you get you, me, your brother, and some other sports fans, Jeremiah, Doubting Thomas, your sister, my wife, Jules, you get all those guys into a party, yeah, because I know you guys are gonna watch the game. Right. Yeah, we're going to talk about commercials too, probably. But we're going to watch the game. We're going to have a good time. But if you're going to tell me that we're going to watch the game with, your neighbor and your neighbor's wife who watches the Super Bowl because of who's singing at the halftime show as opposed to who's playing in the game. I don't care. Or if, we had Mario, who's the producer of BetMGM Tonight, asked us on air the other night, and I got myself in a little bit of hot water. But he said, I got invited by a friend to go to a 1-year-old's birthday party, but it's also a Super Bowl party. I said, no, absolutely not. There is no, like, you should unfriend the man
How close
for
of a friend
inviting
is
you to
How
a
close of a
1-year-old's
friend
birthday
is
party that's also a Super Bowl party. I don't care how close. Dude,
they
you
have
could,
it-
if you invited me to
they have it
Aiden's
on the
birthday
off week?
party that was also a Super Bowl party, I would tell you to fuck yourself.
They couldn't have it. I would have had it on an off week. I would have
Yeah,
had it
have
on
it
an
on-
off week.
Look,
Have
my
it in
son,
between. Have it on the Pro Bowl week. All they do is play, flag football anyway. Jeremiah said Chicago is built different. Most people at a party are talking about the game. Other cities, not so much. I'll agree with that. Chicago is a different kind of sports city.
you're like, you just met Brandon Jr. for his 21st birthday party. He was born on Super Bowl Sunday in 2004. He ruined my Super Bowl party. I had a Super Bowl party planned. There were like 25 people coming. She went into labor that morning. We went to the hospital. He was born 2 hours before kickoff. First time he opened his eyes actually was during kickoff. That's how I knew he was going to be a sports fan. I didn't have a birthday party / Super Bowl party for him until he was 12, for him and his friends. And I didn't even invite like the parents to that one. I took me and my wife at the time took him and his friends to a big place. It was like an indoor golf place that was turning the screens into the Super Bowl instead of playing golf. And there were big tables, big food spread, and everything. And we did that alone without like all of the other. I think there were like 1 or 2 parents that we were really close with that came to watch the game. But that was the Super Bowl party I had. I didn't invite it because I understand when you're trying to watch the game, you want to watch the game. You don't want to have all of this other nonsense going on. Like, I get that point of things. So that's why I told Mario, I said, you don't do that. I said, I don't even like, and that's where I got myself in hot water. I said, I don't even like going to my brother-in-law's house with his kids running around to watch the Super Bowl because they kick us out at halftime so the kids can go to bed in time for school the next day. Like, I want to enjoy the game. Like, I want to watch the game in my own environment. If people want to come over and they want to watch it, great. And if they're being too crazy or being too loud in the living room, I have a basement I can go to and turn on the game really quick. You know what I mean? like I can do that type of stuff. But I'm with Bill Burr on this, man. I don't really care for Super Bowl parties too much.
No, not really. I don't even see why there's so many Super Bowl parties started. It's like I've said it a little bit in Fitz gibberish, like this $100 billion marketing apparatus that forces us all in the games. You got women who never even watch the game, watching the game, and it's like, do you really want to be watching this game? You don't have to
don't watch the game watching the game.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, wait, what was that? Was that a forward? They have forward passes? Like, I mean, everybody doesn't have to be into the NFL.
That being said, what's your favorite Super Bowl snack?
I do like a well executed hot wing.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for nachos.
But I'm a sucker for buffalo chicken dip, which I actually am making after we.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah, I do love buffalo chicken dip. I also like a good steak. I bought a couple of steaks for tonight for dinner. For Michelle's not a real steak person, so I bought her some cod. She loves fish, so
there you go.
Cook up some steaks, and
I love steak. Nice, well executed.
I love a good steak. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Absolutely.
Nice has just moved to Central Indiana. You don't have to worry about anyone bothering you on Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, that's because if you move to Central Indiana, you don't get service enough to watch the Super Bowl.
He's into chili cheese dip.
And mostly is because most people buy their internet in Central Indiana from Ryan Fitzgibbons.
Oh, come on.
All right, so we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the passing of Virginia McCaskey. And I saw.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
Stop it. Look, here's. I'll let you here. I'll tell you what. I'll let you say your thing about Virginia McCaskey, and then I'll say mine.
Virginia McCaskey, a true NFL matriarch. No, I mean I'm just
She really
her
was.
regime. Yeah, it started with the Super Bowl. It did. A coaching staff though that her dad put together, and a team her dad put together. Let's face it. Since then, I mean, it's just. I'm sorry. It's been an ownership group that doesn't really care about winning, and it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm going to grade an ownership group. Have they done a lot of good things for the NFL? Yeah, but I think that's more the people and the fans of Chicago, like Jeremiah was talking about there. I think that's more the Chicago fans than anything else. Than the actual team. I think we're in the Midwest. There's no mountains. There's no Purple Mountain Majesty. There's no I mean, there isn't a whole lot to do here other than root for sports. I mean, I'm sorry. In the summers are great, but obviously football is in the winter, and there's a lot of fans of this football team. There was a lot of fans in this football team for a while.
Do you really get a phone call right now? Really? Is this what's going on?
I had
calling to tell you your internet's not working?
I had it on do not disturb. I don't know what.
Is that a customer to tell you that hey, my internet's down?
I don't know what to say. I had it on do not disturb. Could you stop? I mean, for a guy, and now you're going to take the counterpoint, because for a guy who wanted Virginia McCaskey dead for the last 2
but I'm not.
Years, is now going to say that she was a great NFL matriarch, which I don't see it. I mean, and I don't see them selling this team either. That's the last thing I'm going to say. The team's a cash register. Like everybody else in America, they're addicted to fame, and this puts them right in the center of attention, and they're not going to give that up. But I could be wrong.
So, look, I feel for the McCaskey family. You lose a mother, you lose a sister, you lose, an aunt, a grandmother, all that stuff. Like I feel for you, and as much as we joked around, like Virginia McCaskey, you know what I mean? She's 102 years old, and I've heard some great stories about her, just at the radio station about how there were some things I didn't know. Like I didn't know she was a part of the Red Grange barnstorming thing, and bringing the NFL into existence. I didn't know she was a huge part of that. And a lot of people talk affectionately about her love for the team, which is where I start to pause, right? Because as much as I do feel for her as a person and for her family, I do, send my condolences, and I understand that whole thing. As a sports owner, as an owner of the franchise that I love dearly, I'm happy with the new direction that's about to come. I'm wearing the Blackhawks hat, man. When did the Blackhawks turn around?
When Bill Wirtz died.
When Bill Wirtz died.
And Rocky Wirtz took over.
I think that I don't know that you'll get that. I don't know that the Blackhawks will be, or that the Bears will be the Blackhawks. I think that once there is a new stadium in place, and now that Virginia has passed on, I don't think that they love the team as much as she did, in how much it was ingrained in her with her dad, Papa Hollis, who would be turning over in his grave if he saw what she had done to the team. I think that once there's a deal in place for a stadium, I think that the sale will begin. I really do. I truly believe that. And I think that you've seen that over the course of the last couple of weeks. I mean, just when you've seen George McCaskey give interviews over the last couple of weeks talking about the new, Ben Johnson and the new direction and everything, he seems relieved. It's almost like he didn't know that he could relinquish hold of football decisions.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't a good idea 12 years ago to just let football people do football things. And so I do think that this will come as a relief to him as well. Not that, that he lost his mother, but it'll become a relief to him that he can actually get rid of this football team and that
Then
he will make
why would you
millions
take
of dollars
the job
doing it.
then? And Jeremiah has a good point. I think our beef is more with the kids, and I
Yeah.
agree. That's more with the kids. She was, for a lot of this, she was deep into her 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Supposedly
She
she
wasn't
loved Walter Payton. Walter Payton was her favorite player.
Yeah.
I don't
When
know.
Walter Payton died, she had a pretty good speech where she said after Brian Piccolo, she said she wasn't going to have a player into her heart again because she was so devastated when Piccolo died.
Yeah.
But she had brought, Walter. It was like impossible not to fall in love with him, and that he was a great player. And she had a really good speech. I remember that when they had a little memorial for him. So. Yeah, I mean, and it is more with the kids. It is more with Mike McCaskey, who took over in the very beginning, and then on to George McCaskey, who got their fingers into this thing and wanted to, I don't know, make a name for themselves with this. And obviously, they grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. So they either didn't do the work, or when they did the work, they did a little too much of it.
Well, you said why would they sell $9 billion?
The ownership is the same. George still runs the show. Hopefully, what we've seen this offseason is the Kevin Warren effect.
The expected sale price of the Bears would be $9 billion.
Yeah, I get that, but like I said, you're the center of attention. You own the team.
$9 billion to go away and not have to do any of this anymore and have the aggravation of any of this anymore, which has apparently become a relief to you.
I'm a White Sox fan that's dealing with a 90-year-old psychopath who can get rid of the White Sox.
$9 billion. They might sell for $2.
You could sell that team for $2 or $3 billion,
Yeah.
definitely over $2, and that's a lot when you bought it for $20 million. And what did they buy? Disgusting. Never a kind word for me for you when she was alive. Detective Thomas back on the case.
I did offer to shove a stake through her.
It's kind of weird how you were sick
and called her a vampire.
It is kind of weird how you're sick and you have no alibi.
I thought she was going to outlive us all, to be fair.
Really? I mean, with the anti-aging drugs that are out there now, I like I told you, she could be 130. We could both be dead.
They live off of our blood. I mean, to be fair, have any of us actually seen the body?
No.
I mean,
the Sox were evaluated at $3.5 billion. There we go.
That's not $9 billion. But
that's not
$3.5 billion is a lot. Though.
3.5 is not 9. You're correct, sir. It's about. There you go. Math is hard.
I don't know. Well, the White Sox are eventually going to sell too. I mean, his family's already urging him.
If he dies, they're going to, yeah. So.
But I do think I do believe that once there's a deal in play, once Kevin Warren finally figures out this to just build in Arlington Heights, it makes the most sense. I don't understand why there's such a wait. I get it.
Yeah, already now. I mean, the way the timeline is, they're not going to have a stadium for maybe one season.
Yeah, or do they have to rent it from the city? Like I don't know how it'll play out, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see because what would it'll be? So let's say they struck a deal in the next 6 months, right? So it would be by 2028, the start of the season of 2028, this stadium would be ready.
What? That quick?
3 years. I mean, that's how fast SoFi went up.
The 2028 season. 2025. Okay, yeah.
Because if you strike a deal within this, and supposedly the land is already prepped over at in Arlington.
I gotta go check out this. We gotta go check out this land.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta. Supposedly it's prepped. That's
we're walking
what
the
Warren
land.
has said. He said we've got land that's already prepped in Arlington Heights. So
how many acres is that? Could you walk?
I don't know if he means prepped by it's already there, or if there's already like a foundation built.
They
like,
moved a
what
lot
is
of stuff
prepped?
off and stuff like that, especially before the sale. But I don't think there's like
Yeah, but 3
a
years is about
foundation
typical for
laid.
a new stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 3 years. No, you're right. I mean, but that's getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close.
Yeah, you have to strike it within the next. I mean, within the next 6 months, right? Because that would be August.
Yeah, I don't know. A stadium deal. This isn't like rebuilding Gaza.
Well, you've also been working on it for 2 freaking years. I hope you're at least you've got most of it drawn out. I would hope.
I would hope you do.
You're just waiting for signatures.
They have
at
the
this point, is
graphic.
my guess.
They have the graphics that AI put together for them. I mean,
They've
I don't
got
know if that's.
something.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have a big door and it's gonna be kind of a dome.
And I got to, after
don't
going to
know.
Indy and taking my son to Lucas Oil, I can't wait for.
You want a dome?
Dude, oh
You
my
don't
god,
like the cold.
dude, Lucas Oil is amazing. The next time the Bears go to Indianapolis, we need to go.
All right, I'm in.
There's not a bad seat in that stadium.
We're taking video outside of the stadium. Shovels in the ground in 2025. Hopefully, there's no speed options at the 1 yard line where everybody falls
Shovels
down.
in the ground in 2025. Hopefully, he means like before December 31st of 2025. It's technically December 31st, would still be 2025.
I think he's a big fan of Kevin Warren. Remember the last time the Bears were in Lucas Oil Stadium? Just remember. A bunch of guys laying on the ground, going for a speed option at the 1 yard line on 4th and goal. I'm just saying.
Do you see his next comment?
Maybe he was talking about. Can't help himself.
Maybe
He
he was
actually had
talking about
some good
Virginia.
comments today. Some cogent, logical comments.
He hasn't even had a funeral yet, Jeremiah.
Then he just went straight into the gutter. Detective Thomas on the case. Disgusting. Never a kind word when she was alive. Let's get on the case.
We already showed that comment and talked about it.
I just wanted to bring him back up.
Oh, I thought maybe you just weren't paying, or maybe your internet glitched again.
Christ. Someone called me.
Someone called me. All right, so what would so you don't think the Bears are going to sell? You don't think
I don't
sell
think
this
they're
team?
gonna sell. No. I don't think they will. I think they like the fame. I think they like owning the team. I think they like having the name on there. I don't know. I mean, at some point, these teams are so expensive. Who's there going to be left to sell to? Who are they going to sell to?
That's where all
Saudi
these teams are
Arabian
selling.
chic.
Like the Dodgers, they're going to sell to a group. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
I
the
understand.
only way these
that,
teams
but
buy.
at some point, who has money? All these teams are worth $10 billion. They got 30 teams per league that are worth $10. Do we have trillions of dollars? Is Elon Musk going to buy all these teams? Like,
who was no, they were talking about some billionaire that wanted to buy the Bears, who was interested. They were talking about
Bezos.
Bezos, yeah.
Jeff Bezos and his tits.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. Whatever. I sell it to a fan. That's what the Cubs did. That's working out well.
Yeah, super well.
Great.
Pacoda's got him winning 91 games, and Pacoda's always right.
Pacoda is drunk. Pacoda is drunk.
I don't know. They can win 7 or 8 more games this year. What do you got them winning 83 again?
Are they better than the Reds? Are they better than the Reds?
That's tough. I got to dig into the Reds.
And they've got the Reds. Not only do they have a good young roster,
I think Kuchar wants to buy the Bears. Here we go.
God, they also have they also have Terry Francona as their manager now.
Yeah.
So to me, like, I think the Reds are the team to beat in this division this year. And we're gonna baseball here in a couple of weeks we're gonna talk about. But that's why I don't know. The Pacoda's crazy.
Who are they going to have at third base? The Cubs, but they do have a.
They're still supposedly the front-runners for Alex Bregman, but if not Bregman, then Matt Shaw.
Lineup is better right now, I would say. Not much better, but better.
Yeah, because you got Kyle Tucker in there. I mean, Kyle Tucker was an addition, but I've said this before.
But
don't act like Kyle Tucker was
you subtracted from third base.
Well, right, but Kyle Tucker was was an upgrade
I
from
need a
Cody
third baseman.
Bellinger for sure.
Yeah.
But the
But
Cubs
who are
didn't
you
do
gonna
it
have at
because it
third
was an
base?
upgrade, and they showed that with the contract negotiations. They did it because he was cheaper. He was
Yeah,
$13 million cheaper.
True, and then you have, I mean, but at third base, who are you going to have? Are you going to
Matt
have
Shaw.
somebody? Is at least who? I mean, who is Matt Shaw?
Well, Matt
I
Shaw's
don't
been
care what
the
he's
kid
done.
that
I
they've
don't
been
care what he's
grooming.
done in the minors. I don't care what he's done in the fucking
I don't
minors.
care what he's done in the
I've seen
minors
enough
either.
I've seen enough minor league players play like shit for like 2 years, even
That's
when
because you're a White
become
Sox
good.
fan.
There we go.
All your players get hurt, and you watch
Oh,
minor
Armstrong
leaguers
is great because he's got pink hair. Everybody, here we go.
play.
He's got pink
121
hair.
losses, guy.
He's great.
121 losses you watched last year.
There
You
we
have
go.
shell
I go
shock.
back and forth now because you got nothing better to do.
How about the
Go
White
die of
Sox?
COVID, for
How about
Christ's
the
sake.
White Sox are by Pacoda's
He's not just
projections?
automatically good. I'm saying I want a proven guy. I don't want Johnny Says Joe Willie.
I'm
Thanks.
with you. I'm with you. I've said the same thing. I just said Pacoda was drunk. There's no way the Cubs are winning 91 games. You're acting like I said the Cubs are going to win the World Series. I said they're not even as good as the Reds.
Kyle Tucker, and you lose a third baseman. I mean, Matt Shaw, yeah, it could be a great third baseman. I don't
What do you
have
want me
the
to
proof
tell
that he is.
you?
I don't have the proof that he is.
They're not as good as the Reds. What more do you want me to tell you? I'm not arguing with you that they're not good. I don't think that they're a complete team. I don't think they've done enough to be a complete team yet. Do I like some of the pieces that they've added to the bullpen? Sure. Do I like the fact that Kyle Tucker is on the team for 1 year and it's probably only going to be 1 year? Whatever.
Do you like that the MLB has Seiya Suzuki as a top 5 right fielder and he's not even
No.
going to play right
Oh my
field?
God. The fact that he is rated above Ronald Acuna Jr. by 2 slots is insane to me.
Slotting that?
I mean, it is.
I couldn't believe those.
It was
Those can't
asinine.
be- no one real put those together. Some intern put that together who
These are
is
like
drunk.
John Heyman puts these together. Like it's insane. But no, I don't think that I think Pacoda's drunk. Like I said, they have the White Sox as a 21 game improvement this year.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. No, I saw that too. Yeah, they have them losing 100 games even.
Their roster is worse than last year, isn't it?
I mean, they're going to have some young players come up. They're going to win more games. I mean, that's
Well, you
not
have to,
that's
right?
not some revelation. You have to win more games, but they're going to have, I would think a better Matt Thorpe. I mean, I don't know how their starting pitching could really be better, but their hitting has got to be better. They're going to have guys come up. They got Teal who's going to come up. They got Colson Montgomery who's going to come up and play better. They're going to have, they're going to have some young players here that are going to be better players than, the crap that they had last season. I mean, hopefully they'll trade Andrew Benintendi, but I mean, they're still going to have Luis Robert. I don't see them trading him. They're not going to get a top prospect for him, and there's no reason to trade him. He still has 3 years left on his contract. Like, there's no reason for them to trade him right now. I wouldn't. I mean, if he has a great first half, you're going to trade him for a lot more than you're going to get now.
No.
So you're going to get. I mean, they're going to win like 50 games, maybe. They're going to be a better team. They're going to be a lot more fun to watch because you're going to have a lot of players that might actually mean something playing games.
Yeah.
Other than watch Eric Fetty do well and then trade him for nothing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, new manager, see how that dynamic plays out. The roster. I mean, that's what I mean. You do have the Palatine Pounder.
I mean, and then you got Johnny saying they're going to win 75 games.
Johnny's already drunk. It's Super Bowl Sunday. It's nearly noon. He's already at least 3 Miller Lights in. Yeah. I don't know about 75. 60 maybe? Is 60 possible? Can you go 60 and 102? Do you see that?
No, I don't.
60, huh?
I don't. I see around 50. And I see a team that could be fun, like the 2018 White Sox. That could be fun to watch because it's like, oh, Colson Montgomery's batting. All right. Eddie Carroll's batting. All right. Teal's up. He's batting. Okay. Noah Schultz is pitching. a
So
few
spoiler
innings.
alert: neither one of us are going to pick the White Sox to actually surprise and win this division.
No,
this year, right?
not like our intro where
Yeah.
you and
Where I did that. Yeah.
we thought that the division was going to be terrible. It might actually be terrible.
I
This
actually said
you had 3 playoff
they're
teams.
they could win a really bad division. That division had 3 of the final 4 teams left in the American League playoffs.
Yeah, I don't see that happening again.
Yeah.
Johnny says I forgot. You guys are great at predicting seasons. Yeah, we haven't been very good at that.
Well, I can tell you this. I will give you can bet me whatever you want. I will give you plus 1,000 odds that they do not win 75 games. I will give you plus 1,000 odds that they don't win 70 games. John.
So you guys got a bet there.
You Venmo me whatever you want to Venmo me.
Oh
and
boy.
if they win 70 or more games,
Here
I will pay
we
you
go.
back. I will Venmo you back.
Is this going to be on the
1,000.
intro next year? Is this going to be on the intro next year? Next Super Bowl?
Yeah, this will be the intro for next year from the White Sox championship parade. as Johnny's running around naked with all of my money.
Maybe he'll shave his beard.
There's no way.
He'll shave his
No
beard?
chance they win 70 games.
Or he'll shave his beard or the 70 games?
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Shanna's already an edible in, sitting by a bonfire.
Damn.
It's freaking
How
11:30.
warm is it out there? You can have a bonfire.
She's in Tennessee, isn't she?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they got 20 degrees on us today.
So, great.
But
so
it is only 11:30
degrees over there, and she's sitting at a bonfire.
Can't you pace yourself? I'm a little worried here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little early out there. And is Tennessee on Central Time? They're on Central Time. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not even 11:30 yet, and you're having edibles.
Hey, teach their own. It's Super Bowl.
Or maybe she's talking about during the baseball
for
season instead of watching the White Sox.
Yeah, that could be it. It's supposed to be 43 today in Tennessee.
Or she could be talking.
Jeez, that's still a little cold.
Now. To be sitting out by a bonfire eating edibles?
Yeah.
It's a little cold. But the edibles probably make it bearable.
Yeah. Warm you up.
They definitely warm you up. All right, man. You ready to get the hell out of here?
Yes. I got the Chiefs winning. You got the Eagles winning. We'll see what happens.
You've got the Chiefs. I got the Eagles. I do like the Eagles. I like the run game. I think it's going to be a problem for
great defense too.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be high scoring. You think it's going to be low scoring. So we're on the opposite ends of everything. As usual, opposite ends of everything. Till next week. Same bat channel. Won't be the same bat time. Lots of things going on. Promotions at work. Different things.
Yes.
So we'll figure out the time and we'll let you guys know. We'll post it. Talk to you guys later.